Inspirational moment exposed. Drill Sergeant discovers black recruit's hidden legacy after incredible flood crisis. In a quiet southern town in Georgia, Drill Sergeant Thompson stood tall, the embodiment of dedication. His reputation as a rigid but fair leader earned him respect. The heat of the Georgia sun bore down on the recruits, a patchwork of backgrounds fumbling through the grueling drills he designed to shape them into soldiers. Among them was Marcus, a black recruit with fierce determination glowing in his eyes. The weight of his family's sacrifices loomed over him like an unending shadow, an unrecognized legacy he fought daily to bring into the light. "You call that running, Private?" Thompson bellowed, watching Marcus lag behind. "You might as well be walking." The other recruits snickered, their laughter like knives digging into Marcus's spirit. He dug deep, knowing he had more to prove. He wasn't just fighting for himself but for generations of his family who had endured hardship. As the days wore on, laughter began to trickle through the ranks, showing the fragile bonds that formed amid the tough regimen. They shared stories late into the night, finding hope in one another. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Then disaster struck. The serene town was plunged into chaos as relentless rains unleashed a flooding torrent. Waters rose fast, swallowing homes and memories whole. The recruits watched in horror as the community they had come to love was ripped apart. Marcus, with determination burning bright, felt something stir within him, a call to lead, to act. He gathered the recruits, eyes burning with purpose. "Look around," he urged, his voice steady, cutting through the panic. "This is our family, these are our neighbors. We can't stand by." The recruits rallied behind him, finding strength in his resolve. They had been shaping each other, and now they were ready to be the heroes their town needed. "My family has served, sacrificed, and fought for people who never knew their names. Let us honor that. Let us show them who we are." As Marcus shared stories of his family's military valor, his hidden legacy cracked open like a treasure chest, revealing an unseen depth of pride. The recruits listened in awe, their prejudice melting away like frost under the sun, shifting their perspective on service. They saw not just a recruit but a leader igniting their spirits. Sergeant Thompson watched, his heart pounding in his chest. He sensed the shift in the air, the unyielding bond forming among the motley crew, and it rattled his beliefs. This was more than training. It was a life-changing moment. His mind raced, teetering between old biases and the powerful truths unfolding before him. He felt raw, vulnerable, pulled between tradition and the undeniable camaraderie emerging from the group. As they prepared to mobilize into their community, the energy surged. Could Thompson set aside ingrained prejudices and recognize in Marcus not just a recruit, but a hero? The weight of shared humanity pressed on him, leaving readers grasping for breath, eager to discover whether understanding and redemption could triumph amid the chaos. The storm clouds may have cleared, but the emotional torrents remained. As the recruits gathered their gear, Marcus stood at the forefront, adrenaline coursing through his veins. He could feel the solidarity in the air, a tangible force that pushed them toward action. His voice resonated with urgency as he mapped out their plan. "We start with the families on Maple Street. They're all trapped inside." The faces around him turned serious, no longer just frightened recruits but a unit with a shared mission. Thompson observed from a distance, grappling with the shifts he had witnessed. His eyes fell on Marcus, a beacon of hope in the chaos. It was astounding how a single moment could unravel everything he believed about authority, about courage, and even about himself. "Let us grab anything we can use to help them," shouted a recruit, breaking Thompson's reverie. They were vaulting into action, fastening ropes and forming chains to pass supplies across flooded streets, all under Marcus's watch. As they marched through the town, the scale of the devastation hit them hard. Streets were twisted rivers, debris floating like broken dreams. Homes stood half submerged, the unmistakable scent of damp wood and despair rising with the humidity. Yet, amid the wreckage, the spirit of community shimmered like a beacon. At the first house they found an elderly woman, her face etched in worry. Marcus stepped forward, determination ignited within him. "Ma'am, we're here to help." The woman looked up, surprise flickering across her tired eyes. As they retrieved her from her home, he felt the weight of history in that moment. The legacy he fought to honor wasn't just his family's. It surrounded him, the strength of those who came before. Keep going," Marcus shouted as they maneuvered through the floodwaters, carrying elderly neighbors and frightened children. They were making a difference one step at a time. Each successful rescue wrapped them in a warm embrace of camaraderie. That night, their souls forged deeper connections, blending in shared stories of laughter, love, and loss. Meanwhile, Sergeant Thompson trudged through the muck, watching with growing admiration. The recruit he had once seen as a mere underperformer had transformed into a leader. As those once laughing recruits now tracked mud and sweat across the town, Thompson recognized the fire in their hearts, a fire that wasn't just for glory but for each other. His thoughts churned. Had he misjudged these young men? Had he misjudged Marcus? The fight in the recruit's eyes resonated with his own buried fears and hopes. An unexpected wave of respect washed over him, a profound realization that his perspective had been forever altered. He wouldn't just bear witness to this transformation, he would be a part of it. As the sun dipped below the horizon, an unfamiliar quiet settled over the chaos. They gathered as a group, breathless and soaked, but standing taller than ever before. Marcus, filled with pride, addressed them. "This isn't just about saving them. It's about who we are. Together we can overcome anything." Thompson, standing just behind the group, felt a lump in his throat. He was ready to embrace a change he hadn't seen coming, feeling a bond forming not just with the recruits, but with the very spirit of the community they were saving. But as they prepared to set out for more rescues, a distant rumble filled the air. Thunder crackled again, the skies reloading for another storm. Marcus glanced up, a shadow flickering over his face. "We need to keep moving. We can't let fear stop us now." What lay ahead, though? Would they withstand the encroaching storm? Or would it wash away the hope they had built? The atmosphere thickened with the weight of the unknown, leaving everyone breathless and eager for whatever challenge came next. The next chapter awaited them, ready or not. The rain began to fall, soft at first, like whispers of nature urging the town not to give up. But it quickly transformed, drenching the streets once again. Each drop carried the weight of impending challenges, but for Marcus, the urgency only fueled his determination. "Stay close together," he shouted over the rising storm, rallying his unit against the chaos. "Stick to the plan." The recruits looked to him, their faces illuminated by the flashes of lightning, a mix of fear and resolve written on their features. They had come so far. To stop now would be to betray not just themselves, but all those they had already rescued. As they waded deeper into the fray, they arrived at another house. This one was different. The residents were a young family, huddled together on the second floor, their faces pale and full of anxiety. Marcus felt a tight knot in his chest. Rescuing children was always harder. He glanced back at his recruits. They all shared a silent understanding this was not just an operation. This was their home, their community. One of the recruits, Jessica, stepped forward. "I can get up there, just give me a boost." Before he could protest, she was lifted by Thompson and another recruit, her nimble body scaling the crumbling stairs. As she vanished into the shadows of the home, tension hung heavy in the air. They all held their breath, waiting. A moment later, a tiny voice broke through the silence. "Mommy!" A little girl, no older than 5, came rushing into Jessica's arms, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I thought you were gonna leave me." The sight pierced Marcus's heart. There was no leaving anyone behind. Not now. Not ever. Jessica turned to the family, urgency in her voice. "We need to get you down. Grab a hold of my hand." She carefully led the girl down, with another family member close behind. Marcus steadied himself against the wall, listening to the muffled sounds outside as rain pounded relentlessly. Each thud a reminder of the stakes. Finally, they reached ground level. But as they moved away from the house, the gravity of the storm hit them. Wind howled, sending debris swirling in frantic circles. A tree limb snapped nearby, crashing down just feet away, sending the group scrambling. "Move! Move!" Marcus shouted, adrenaline surging through him. They darted for cover, carrying the young family with them, hearts racing as they dodged flying pieces of what used to be their neighbors' homes. As they huddled beneath a nearby overhang, Marcus caught sight of Thompson, grounding himself against the intensity of the wind. His mentor's eyes were wide, processing the courage exuding from every recruit. You could see the change reflected in him. Thompson! Marcus yelled, almost lost in the chaos. This is why we're here. Look at them. They're not just recruits anymore, they're family. Every word rang true, the spirit of camaraderie sparking brighter with each heartbeat. They all huddled close, adrenaline still buzzing, fear mingling with a growing sense of purpose. As the storm howled around them, they were a collective force, held together by hope and determination. Then in a split second the wind shifted. Dark clouds churned above them, but a singular ray of light broke through, illuminating Marcus's face. He looked at each of his comrades, their faces lit by that brief glow. This isn't the end, it's just a test. Together we're invincible. Suddenly from behind them someone gasped. What now? Thompson murmured, his brow furrowing. Marcus turned, following Thompson's wide-eyed gaze, and froze. A shape emerged from the sea of storm clouds, a figure they hadn't seen before. Was this someone in need? Or was it something else entirely? Tension built, and with it, a whisper of danger slipped through the air. As the silhouette came into focus, answers swirled with uncertainty. Who was it, and what did their arrival mean for the fragile hopes they had built? The group stood on the precipice of understanding, ready to confront whatever storm which could break or bind them was about to unfold. The figure drew closer, cutting through the rain like a beacon. Its outline sharpened against the storm, and Marcus's heart raced. It was a woman, drenched but moving with purpose. Her eyes, wild yet determined, locked onto Marcus's. He felt a jolt of recognition, and with it a wave of hope. Help! I need help! She shouted, her voice nearly disappearing in the winds. Without hesitation, Marcus and the recruits pushed through the chaos, unsure of what awaited them. The woman staggered toward them, clutching something tightly in her arms. As she stepped into the dim light, they caught a glimpse of what it was: an infant swaddled tightly in a blanket. My baby, she's just a few weeks old. The woman's voice broke, a mix of fear and desperation tearing through the storm's fury. Instinctually the recruits acted. Jessica was already moving, her eyes focused on the child, her heart full of compassion. Here, let me take her, she said gently, reaching out for the infant. The woman nodded, tears mingling with rain as she hesitated before handing over the tiny bundle. They could all see the love in her eyes mixed with the agony of uncertainty. It was a powerful reminder of everything at stake. As Jessica cradled the baby, a sense of calm settled over the group, even amidst the raging storm. Marcus noticed the shift. The fear dissipated, replaced with a shared mission. Together they had to protect this family. Let us get them to safety, Marcus shouted, motioning for everyone to move. The urgency surged again as they fought against the wind and rain, a new purpose igniting their spirits. Each step felt heavier, but they pressed on, determined. They ducked under fallen branches and dodged debris, moving swiftly toward the nearest solid structure. The world around them blurred, only the baby's soft whimpers broke through the din of the storm. Each drop of rain seemed to pulse with the importance of their mission. Almost there, Marcus encouraged, glancing back at Thompson, who nodded with that same fierce determination etched across his face. Then, just when they thought they were about to breach the safety of an old building, the ground gave way beneath them. Suddenly a deep crack split the pavement, causing the earth to shudder. Marcus tumbled, struggling to regain his footing. His breath hitched, his heart racing as he caught a glimpse of the chaos erupting behind him. Marcus! Thompson shouted, reaching out. But the ground trembled again, and the structuring sounds of the rain turned to ominous creaks from above. Get everyone inside. I'll hold them off, Marcus yelled back, adrenaline surging anew. No, we're not leaving you, Jessica protested, her voice a mix of fear and defiance. He stood there, his heart torn. The baby was a precious weight in Jessica's arms, and they couldn't afford to lose her. Protecting them was his only thought, but they were a team. I'll be right behind you, he insisted. He glanced back, catching the alarmed expressions of his recruits. Trust me, Reluctantly, they started moving, their faces a mix of worry and bravery. As the last recruit slipped through the door of the building, Marcus could feel the weight of their trust in him. He turned back to face the emerging storm of chaos, knowing that this was more than a mission. It was family, unity, and the heart of what they were all fighting for. With the thunder crashing like a battle cry above him, he took a deep breath, ready to confront whatever came next. But just then, a shadow loomed over him, a single silhouette charging through the rain. "Marcus, get down!" Someone yelled from outside. What surprise awaited him now? As the storm thrashed around them, the concept of safety seemed a world away. But in that moment he knew he wouldn't face it alone. Who had come to help? Would it be enough to change everything? Marcus dropped instinctively to the ground, heart hammering in his chest. Just as he hit the muddy pavement, something charged over him with the force of a freight train. It was a man, broad-shouldered and painted by the chaos of the storm, who barreled through the downpour with an intensity that cut through the darkness. "Get up, Marcus. We don't have much time." It was Rob, his former mentor, voice cutting through the roar of the elements. Marcus's mind raced. Rob shouldn't he have been here? He had been stationed miles away. "What are you doing here?" Marcus shouted back, confused but relieved. "I was out there." Rob gestured toward the storm, panic flashing across his face. "I saw the whole thing. Thompson and the others are safe, but we've got to move now." Unusual determination flickered within Marcus, urging him to stand. He couldn't let any more lives be put at risk. What is happening? After the ground gave way, the whole area is unstable. Rob's urgency was tangible. More rain is hitting. If we don't get the others out, we'll have no chance. Then, just as that urgency poured into Marcus, he saw movement from the shadows. Figures began emerging, soaked and wild-eyed. The sight of his recruits rushing to safety made his chest swell with pride, even as fear lurked in his heart. "Get inside. Now," Marcus called, waving at them. Each recruit was carrying something or someone, torn between their urgency and the fear of failure. Jessica held the baby tightly, her expression of sheer determination igniting the urgency within the group. "We can't leave anyone behind." "Rob," Marcus said, glancing back at him, "we need to find anyone else who is missing. If more people are out here, we'll get them, but right now we have to take cover. They'll come after us." Suddenly, the sound of pounding feet splashed toward them. Another wave of uniformed figures barreled toward the building. It wasn't the reinforcements everyone had been hoping for, but a gang of rogue recruits from a nearby training camp. Their eyes burned with competition, wanting to claim the mission for themselves. "Marcus, stand your ground," Rob yelled. Marcus's gut nodded. "I won't let them take the baby." Then the first of them reached the threshold, and desperation filled the air. It was a chaotic ballet, guided by instincts and the fight for survival. "Everyone inside," Marcus shouted again, trying to herd his people like ducks in a storm. As the rain thickened, the rogue recruits closed in, threats echoing over the raindrops. They came with a slick confidence, challenging everything that Marcus stood for. But in his chest, the fire burned hotter. He would protect this family, this child, no matter the odds. "Prepare to defend," Rob barked, positioning himself between Marcus and the approaching figures. As they battled the elements and the competing force, Marcus felt the weight of responsibility settle heavily on his shoulders. Every heartbeat felt like a countdown. Would their efforts be enough? Would they prevail against not just the storm but against betrayal? And just as clarity emerged from the confusion, a loud shout erupted in the darkened chaos, a single voice, piercing through the storm. "Don't you dare take them." Who stood against the tide? Marcus's heart raced at the possibilities. The fight ahead felt monumental. But was it enough to kindle the hope that had sparked in the storm? They needed to close ranks. Against the backdrop of the rain pounding relentlessly, Marcus thought, what if it was someone they never expected? Would that shift the balance of hope? The voice cut through the storm like a beacon. It drew both Marcus and Rob's attention, heads snapping around in tandem. They strained their eyes to find the source, drenched in shadows and illuminated by flashes of lightning. "Who is that?" Marcus whispered, panic lacing his voice. The rogue recruits hesitated for just a moment, eyes darting. For Marcus, time slowed. He watched as a figure emerged, a woman standing strong despite her soaked uniform, defiance radiating from her very stance. The rain cascaded around her, forming a curtain but failing to obscure the determination in her eyes. It was Sarah, a recruit who had been quiet, often overlooked, but not now. She faced the rogue group head-on, shoulders squared as if she were preparing for a battle of wills rather than a physical fight. "Step back. They're not yours to take." Sarah's voice rang out, thunderous despite the chaos surrounding them. "Why not?" One of the rogues sneered, a smirk curling his lips. "You think you can protect them? You're nothing." Marcus felt the blood rush to his ears. He saw Sarah's fists clench at her sides, her spirit unyielding. "I may be nothing to you, but I'm everything to them," she shot back, nodding toward Jessica and the baby. The weight of their fate rested heavily in the air between them all. A roar of rain drowned out the murmurs of the rogue recruits. Rob shifted, ready to intervene, but Marcus held his ground, feeling a new surge of something like hope bloom inside him. "Let us show them," he murmured, barely audible over the storm, rallying behind Sarah's fearless spirit. One of the rogues stepped forward, prepared for disruption. "You think you can hold this line? You don't have the numbers or the experience." "Maybe not, but we have something you'll never understand," Sarah countered, stepping forward. "We have each other." The rogue recruits hesitated, confusion flickering across their faces. That vulnerability was all Marcus needed. He glanced at the others, seeing their resolve harden, their fear transforming into collective strength. "Get ready," he shouted, his voice a clarion call that cut through the rain. With a shared sense of purpose, they moved in unison, arms positioning, feet planted firmly as the tension broke. The gang of rogues was met with unified resistance, a wall built on trust, hope, and an unwavering belief in one another. "Push them back," Rob commanded, charging forward. The air whooshed around them as bodies collided. Marcus could taste the electric energy of the moment, a life-or-death struggle underscored by a fierce spirit among his recruits. Months of training, nights spent sharing dreams and doubts, everything had led to this point. Marcus charged, shoulder to shoulder with Sarah, both their hearts racing. They fought not just for survival but for a family forged in adversity. The storm raged on, but inside Marcus, it felt like they were finally taking control of the chaos. Just as they began to turn the tide, a new shadow appeared at the edge of the chaotic battleground. A figure cloaked in the same storm that enveloped them all. "What now?" Sarah breathed, eyes darting. The mystery deepened, and Marcus felt a chill climb his spine. Who else had been watching this unfolding struggle? Was help coming? Or was this yet another test? The storm may have unleashed chaos, but something more ominous loomed. What was even meant to emerge in such a tempest? As the first victory loomed near, a sense of uncertainty mixed with hope. The coming clash was only beginning. The figure moved closer, the shadows slowly peeling away to reveal a tall man, drenched but composed. His uniform was crisp, standing out against the stormy backdrop. His presence demanded attention, even amidst the chaos Marcus and Sarah had sparked. Thunder grumbled overhead, creating a tension that crackled like the electricity in the air. Marcus narrowed his eyes. He recognized the newcomer. It was Sergeant Andrews, a mentor, a figure of authority, but what was he doing here? Had he come to confront them, to reprimand their defiance? The swirling rain around them seemed to pause, expectant and heavy. "Step aside," Sergeant Andrews shouted, his voice slicing through the downpour. He stepped forward, directly into the path of the rogues, an indomitable force reaching out into the storm. "This isn't where you belong." The rogue recruits stepped back, uncertainty flickering across their faces. The aura of Andrews was palpable. It pulsed with authority and respect. Sarah, still standing strong beside Marcus, cast a look of relief toward the sergeant, but her expression quickly shifted back to defiance. "This is our fight, Sergeant," she called out, her voice firm as she clenched her jaw. "We're not backing down." Andrews glared at her, the hint of a proud smile teasing his lips. "I know that, but I can help you fight. Together we can stand against them." As he spoke, Marcus felt the bubble of hope grow stronger. They weren't alone. The tide was turning. It wasn't just Sarah and their small group. Now they had the experience and support of someone who understood the stakes far better than they ever would. Rob shouted encouragement, galvanizing their makeshift line. "Let's show them we're not backing down." "Not now." The rogue's sneers turned to wary glances as the dynamics shifted. With Andrews now in their corner, the collective strength of their unit seemed ready to swell. The rain drummed on as if setting the rhythm for their resolve. What do we do? Marcus breathed, energy coursing through him. Andrews surveyed the field, eyes sharp. We push them where it hurts. Don't separate. Protect each other. With that he charged forward. Marcus felt the surge of unity blossom within them, pulling the recruits into action as they followed the sergeant's lead. They advanced, a wave of determination responding to the looming threat. Each heartbeat thundered with purpose as they pushed into the fray. The rogue recruits faltered, taken aback by the sudden embrace of unity and strength. A moment's hesitation widened the gap between them, and the recruits pounced. The sound of struggle echoed in the air, the thuds, the shouts, the roar of the storm. To Marcus it felt like more than just a battle. It was a declaration. In the face of all odds, they were standing together against a tide of chaos. As the clash intensified, Marcus caught a glimpse of something, an urgency flashing in Andrew's eyes. The tension was rising, but there was something beneath the surface, something that felt all too familiar yet foreign. "Sarah!" he shouted over the din, trying to get her attention. "What's with the sergeant? Does he know something we don't?" But before she could respond, there was a piercing shout from another rogue, louder than the thunder. "You think you can win? We'll destroy everything you care about." Marcus felt fear ripple through him but quickly pushed it aside, focusing on his mission. They had to win this fight. Not for themselves but for everyone huddled behind them. He wanted to believe. Just as the tide shifted in their favor, a chilling laugh echoed from the rogue leader, startling everyone. "You think this is just about brawn?" The air thickened with dread. "You're playing right into our hands." What did he mean? Marcus's heart raced, uncertainty clawing at him. As new figures loomed in the shadows behind the rogues, questions filled his mind. How deep did this go? The battle was far from over, and a new challenge spun in the air. Would they be able to face what lay ahead? Or was the storm masking something even darker? The roar of thunder drowned out their breaths, but amid the chaos, a new realization formed in Marcus's mind. There was something about the rogue leader's words that echoed ominously. He could feel the air shift, heavy with implication. What if this was more than a battle for their current safety? What if they were standing on a precipice, about to plunge into something far more sinister? "We need to regroup," Andrews yelled, cutting through the din. He was pushing back against a surge of rogue recruits, illustrating the art of defense even as he defended his newfound allies. "Strength in numbers. Keep your eyes on the edges. They might be planning something we can't see." Marcus understood those words, but they felt hollow amidst the storm. He scanned the battlefield. The skirmish had turned wild. Each lash of rain brought new struggles into view, and the shouts of both sides twisted together into an unintelligible cacophony. Just then Sarah took charge beside him, adrenaline coursing through her veins. "Understood. Everyone stay close. Watch each other's backs." Her fierce gaze sparked something inside Marcus. He knew her fight was for more than just survival. The fire in her heart called to his own. "Right. We're not backing down," Marcus echoed. But his voice was nearly swept away by another clap of thunder. Together they formed a tight circle, shoulder to shoulder, eyes blazing. In the flurry of motion, Marcus felt a hand on his shoulder. Rob's grip tightened as he flashed a nod of unity. "We've got this. Stay focused." But Marcus couldn't shake the nagging feeling. What did that rogue mean? They destroy everything we care about? He shook his head, trying to clear the fog of worry. What do they know about us? "Whatever it is, it won't matter if we don't win this fight," Rob said, his eyes trained on the chaos before them. The determination in his voice steadied Marcus, forcing him to push the doubts aside. The rogues surged forward again, but this time Andrews was ready. He countered their advance with remarkable poise, guiding Marcus and Sarah like a seasoned commander. The strike was relentless, pushing back with calculated precision. The once terrifying rogues now resembled frightened animals caught in the storm. Suddenly there was a crack and a flicker, a spark brighter than lightning. A figure stepped forward from the rogue ranks, a familiar face that sent shivers down Marcus's spine. It was Chris, a former teammate, one who had vanished amidst whispers of betrayal. His presence unsettled Marcus. emboldening confusion and dread. You think you're fighting for something noble? Chris's voice rang out across the melee, derisive and sure. You're pawns in a game far larger than you can comprehend. Your fight is meaningless. Shut up, Sarah shouted, her voice unwavering against the barrage of noise. You don't get to decide our worth. Andrews, what's going on? Marcus shouted, not taking his eyes off Chris. Do you know him? Let me handle this. Andrews barked. But even he couldn't disguise the momentary shadow of concern that crossed his face. As the clash continued, the tension between Marcus and Chris boiled. Memories surged inside Marcus, shared dreams, victories, camaraderie, and all that was at stake began to feel like a relentless vice. Chris wasn't just an enemy. He was a once friend turned phantom of their past. We can't let his words get to us. Rob yelled across the fray, deflecting a rogue's fist aimed at him. We know who we are. We can't waver now. But as waves of uncertainty crashed over Marcus, he realized that every battle had its own demons. The storm around them reflected the turmoil within him. Would they stand together, triumph, and perhaps find the answers they sought? Or would they fracture beneath the weight of betrayal? Marcus watched Andrews dismiss Chris with a flick of his wrist, but the unease lingered. There was more here, something rooted deep and dangerous. With renewed resolve, he turned to Sarah. Whatever happens next, we finish this together. As they pushed again against the tide, the air thickened with anticipation. Marcus could sense a reckoning approaching, and in that moment, he questioned whether the battle was truly for victory, or against the looming shadows of their past. Just then an explosion rocked the ground, sending them all tumbling. A voice boomed, sending chills down their spines. Return to your place. This fight is about to get much darker. What choices would they make, when everything they thought they knew began to unravel? The ground trembled beneath Marcus as he scrambled to his feet, the chaos swirling around him like a violent storm. In the brief silence that followed the explosion, he caught glimpses of the others rising, brushing off mud and debris. Yet, the words of that booming voice echoed through his mind. This fight is about to get much darker. Tension hung in the air as shadows seemed to creep closer, urgency pulsing through every heart. Marcus's gaze snapped to Sarah. He could see she was shaken but fierce. Her spirit was recovering like the embers of a fire stoked back to life. Rob tousled his hair, eyes darting toward the rogue ranks as they gathered once more. An ominous tide of figures ready to surge forward. Stick together. Andrews barked, his voice breaking through the noise again. We need to maintain our formation. They're planning something. A flash of lightning illuminated the scene, and it felt as if time had slowed just for a heartbeat. Marcus took a deep breath, grounding himself amid the looming dread. He could feel doubt sinking into the cracks of his resolve, but he pushed it away. They had to believe in each other, in their strength. We're still here, Sarah shouted, her voice rising just above the heaviness of rain. Our worth isn't defined by betrayal. We're going to fight for each other. That declaration hung in the air like a rallying cry. Marcus felt a rush, a spark igniting within him that he thought had been extinguished. He glanced around, taking in the faces of his allies, each reflecting a determination he knew they shared. This was their fight. Their resilience was their weapon. From the back of the rogue ranks, Chris stepped forward, no longer a friend, but an enemy. The distasteful glint in his eyes flashed with something darker. You'll regret this, he shouted. You think you're unified, but you're just delaying the inevitable. The truth will come crashing down, and I will be right there to witness your downfall. Marcus clenched his fists. He wanted to shout back, wanted to lash out at Chris for what he had done, for the betrayal that ran deeper than blood. But he knew he had a choice to make, to let anger control him or fight for something greater. Don't listen to him, Rob yelled, his voice piercing through the dark clouds of doubt. He is trying to get inside your head. Remember, we're stronger together. Just then something shifted in the air. The tension that hung thick like fog became a palpable energy, and the rogue ranks surged forward, faces twisted in rage. Now, form up, Andrews shouted, immediately leading the charge. Marcus found himself shoulder to shoulder with Sarah and Rob, their unity a shield against whatever Chris and his cohorts threw at them. The distance closed rapidly as the rain pelted down, mingling with sweat and fear, the storm becoming an intimate participant in their battle. With every clash and clang, The sound reverberated through Marcus's bones. He swung back against a rogue, adrenaline pumping through him like wildfire. "We fight for each other," he cried, his heart echoing back the fervor of their cause. But as the melee raged on, a haunting figure emerged from the shadows, watching with cold eyes. It wasn't INCRE. This one felt more dangerous, a figure draped in darkness, whose intentions were shrouded in mystery. A silence fell among the fighters as they caught sight of this new arrival. "Stay focused," Andrews screamed, but the new figure raised a hand, silencing the chaos with an uncanny chill. Marcus's pulse raced, fear taking root. Who was that? What were they bringing into this already volatile fight? As realization dawned on him that their battle might not only be against the rogues but against a force far more sinister, a deep sense of foreboding crept in. As the dark figure spoke an incantation that hung in the air and made the ground tremble, Marcus thought, what if the fight for survival leads to something we never expected? What if we're facing a greater evil? The world around them shifted, and the storm outside was nothing compared to the storm brewing within. Their ranks. Would they stand united? Or would this encounter unravel everything they believed? With that thought, uncertainty loomed as the battle continued, and Marcus felt a sinking dread that not all identities would survive this revelation. The storm continued to rage, the winds howling like the cries of anguished spirits as the dark figure towered over them, a remote sentinel beckoning forces no one could name. "You dare challenge the unknown?" came a voice smooth as silk and cold as ice. Marcus felt himself shiver, the weight of its presence bearing down harder than the storm itself. "Stay alert," Andrews shouted, rallying their group once more. "This isn't just about the rogues anymore. It's about everything we hold dear." The truth of those words ignited something powerful in Marcus's chest. This fight was more than about survival, it was about hope, family, and the legacy of all those who had come before them. He wasn't going to let anyone take that away. As lightning cracked again, the rogue recruits hesitated, glancing at the dark figure. Was it fear? Uncertainty? Whatever it was, this was their chance. Everyone tightened their formation, instinctually stepping closer together, shoulders brushing against one another. "Push them back," Sarah roared, determination blazing in her eyes. "We are not here to lose. We fight for each other." Her words rang out, cutting through the fear like a beacon of light. The revelation that they could conquer their adversaries together was more profound than the storm thundering above them. Marcus felt it, the swell of unity rising up within him, enveloping his companions as they channeled courage against the forces that threatened to tear them apart. With a fierce cry they surged forth, arms swinging, legs pumping, all working as one unstoppable force. The rogue recruits were taken aback, unable to respond with the same conviction. And there was Marcus leading the charge, the flicker of adrenaline bringing clarity to his thoughts. "Together," he shouted again, locking eyes with each recruit. "We're stronger than any of this." And at that moment something magical happened. The bond they shared, forged in the fires of hardship, began to glimmer in the storm. They were more than recruits, they were a brotherhood of family. The dark figure, now standing resolute, laughed, a sound that dripped with disdain. "You think unity will save you? I've seen kingdoms fall under that illusion." But the recruits didn't waver. They leapt forward as one, their resolve lifting them like a banner through the chaos. As they clashed, Marcus could feel their energy harmonizing, every strike echoing back the unyielding spirit of generations past. Their combined strength seemed to push the darkness back, a light illuminating their struggle. "You can't take us down," Rob bellowed, thrusting a fist toward the rogue leaders. The dark shadow observed, silence shifting over them like a veil. "What is happening?" it murmured, eyes wide with confusion, meeting their unwavering determination. The uncertainty chipped away at the fortress of darkness that had threatened to devour them. Marcus felt a renewed sense of hope, a flicker of possibility that perhaps the tide had truly turned. "This isn't about fear," he yelled, channeling everything he had. "This is about fighting for our history, our families, even the ones we have yet to create." With that final thought, he pushed through a crowd of rogue recruits, the vision of their families' smiles filling him with courage. For all the sacrifices they made, they deserved this victory. As the last remnants of resistance fell beneath their collective strength, the dark figure began to dissipate, cracking like ice beneath a spring sun. Know this into the end. Its voice trailed off, vanishing into the storm that was beginning to break apart, revealing the first glimmers of light. They stood victorious, breathless, soaked and weary yet united. As the first rays of sunlight peeked through the clouds, illuminating their tired but triumphant faces, joy erupted in their hearts. "Look at what we accomplished," Sarah shouted, her voice radiant with victory. Together, they gathered in an embrace, a circle of resilience forged in the heart of a storm. Each one forever changed, not just as soldiers but as brothers and sisters bonded by trials and triumphs. Marcus turned to Thompson, whose eyes shone with pride and respect. "I didn't see it before, but you showed me what it really means to lead," he said, earnestness spilling from his lips. Those words seemed to bridge the gap that had once divided them. "We all have to be leaders in our own right," Marcus. Thompson responded with a smile. "That's the essence of service." Cheers erupted around them, mingling with the gentle patter of the last raindrops overhead. Marcus leaned back, heart full, knowing the power of legacy was alive within every drop of rain that had fallen. The bonds they formed would weather any storm, growing stronger with each challenge they faced. Hope surged within him, a promise that as long as they stood together, they could push through anything. As they began to march back toward their community, toward home, gratitude flooded Marcus's heart. Each step felt heavier with meaning. They weren't just going back to a place. They were returning to a family, all of them, intertwined together by the threads of history, love, and resilience. In that moment, a new journey unfolded before them. They would rebuild not just the torn lives around them but the very fabric of their community, a family united in purpose, strength, and unwavering hope for the future ahead. This was it. Their moment had come to rise, and nothing could hold them back now. If you loved this story, then now is the time to take action. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that will inspire you. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. It truly makes a difference in the journey of this channel. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending below. Your words mean the world. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Let us keep this family growing strong.